talking about.
Got you. We're live.
Yo, this is Daddyman Radio at the YAP Studios. The man DJ Seiko, my man.
Boy J Hemp, Polo. I'm about to go get sexy.
That's what's up. You better clarify that too.
yeah, gonna be some mad people.
Okay, understood. Yo, so Daddyman Radio is recorded at the YAP Studios, and we're focused on fatherhood. We're doing it again. All right, and today we're going to deal with a father who's done some great things. He's a great entrepreneur. He's traveled the world, and it's good being around worldly, well-traveled, well-knowledged men. The culture of Daddyman Radio is we deal with 4 challenges, 4 things that have been challenging to the father, and 4 triumphant moments, those pivotal defining moments in your fatherhood experience. So today we have our frat brother, Brother Mike Grimes. All right, Latino, stand up.
That's me.
All right. So Mike, man, it's good to have you in the studio. And earlier we were kind of discussing some of the things that has happened in your fatherhood experience. You mentioned that you ended up getting custody of your son when he was 6 years old.
That's correct.
And you were saying that the mother was a fit mother. Mom was good. Mom is excellent.
Yes.
So that's, man, I can't even imagine. So you're going to have to go back and tell us about that, man. Tell us about that. How did you end up with custody of your child at 6 years old and the mother was in good standing?
Well, as I stated before, she always been a good mother. Not only a good mother, also a very educated woman, professional woman, has a master's degree and so forth. Just so happened that in our home, in our setting, I was always the nurturing parent in our home. And not only in our home, but our community knew me as a nurturing parent as far as the schools and after school program and so forth.
Okay.
Anything that took place with him, they always saw me there first and foremost. Of course, she came along, but always took the active role or the leading role in being a nurturing parent. So certainly that fact helped me out when we were going through the court cases, because I didn't have absolutely anything negative to say about her at all as a mother.
Well, you had to have more than just nothing negative to say to win custody in this environment where the mother is almost guaranteed to win.
That's true. Actually, what I learned at the time doing some investigative work, I would say, or some, as we say, when we're looking for information, seeking out information, I learned that if I knew exactly how I felt about my son and the community knew, what I needed to do is to find someone the court would trust with that information. Now, I asked the court to assign an attorney ad litem to my son. Now, that attorney will have to go out for my son and represent my son as our community, or investigate through our community what actually had taken place throughout his life.
Okay.
Not only spend time with him, spend time with me, his mother,
right,
but anybody had some kind of involvement with him. And I felt pretty confident that an attorney ad litem, if reporting the facts, would certainly go back to the court and simply said, hey, this will be the better choice or the better option for this child.
Wow. Now, how was your wife, your currently ex-wife, at the time when you got the attorney ad litem to do this work? How did she feel about it?
Well, she felt somewhat confident in her ability or her parenthood as a skill, being a mother. Excuse me. But at the same time, she also expressed some concern, knowing that if the attorney ad litem would go out in the community, that the community members would speak highly of me at the time.
Okay. So, wow, that's got to be heavy, man. That's got to be one of those really challenging moments in your family's nature, your family's makeup. How did your son? How did he handle you and his mother both wanting custody, and then him ending up with a person he never met before speaking up for him?
Well, we made it a point, believe it or not, even though she and I was going through this separation and divorce, we made it a point to release or relieve the stress from him as much as possible.
Okay.
So we simply both communicated with him that it wasn't about him being a bad child or having faults, but this was just simply something that had to take place that adults would have to deal with, and just for him to just be honest and to express his feelings at the time. So we took it upon ourselves to just make it as comfortable as possible for him, even though it was a very tough moment for him because he wanted to see both mommy and daddy together.
Right. Wow. All right, go ahead, Tim.
All right, with everything that's going on right now, you as a father, raising up a young black man, what do you tell him or instill in him about the police?
Wow.
And just being a black man living in today's environment.
Well, just so happened at one time I was a state trooper myself in the state of Arkansas. And my son, when he was very young, he still didn't have me in uniform and so forth. So his view of the police is not a negative one. But I did have to communicate with him that not all individuals have right intentions. And based on situations, individuals may change their reaction based on a situation, may become a little bit more than expected, I would say. So simply, I just communicate with him that we'd rather be safe than sorry. If you're in a situation where a cop approaches you and the cop may be in the wrong with his tone and so forth, simply have nothing to lose by just being more humble or just being very respectful. We'll deal with the situation afterwards. But if you're out there in that street and you're becoming quote-unquote defensive or standing up for your right, which we all should be able to do, but sadly, because what we are and who we are as black men in this society, we'd rather just deal with it in a different way. And that's why I communicate with him.
One more question, man. As a former state trooper, what would you say to a young African-American man? How does he handle it once that gun has been pulled on him by the officer? What is the best course of action to follow other than put your hands up, say don't shoot?
Well certainly, by the time the officer pulls out a gun, a weapon, for one reason or another, that officer had felt threatened. Most officers, I would say, had felt threatened. So the best thing you can do is simply, of course, raise your hand and check your tone. Simply say, hey, listen, whatever I did to cause you to pull that weapon out, I'm sorry. Can we start over again? Just simply try to communicate with that officer because for one reason or another, he felt threatened.
Indeed.
All right. Good advice. So tell me something else, man. You won custody of your son at 6 years old.
Correct.
Wow. And then, I want to pat you on the back because your son just won a full scholarship to Norfolk State University.
Dope.
Full scholarship, man. He's on the Geneva scholarship, man. Science and technology. So applause, buddy. Hit it. Got you. What are some of the other things you've been proud of? Another triumphant moment in your fatherhood?
Certainly, when it comes to triumphant, of course, you spoke about academics for my son. But I would say I feel what makes me feel really good about my experience with my son is simply the fact that he displays a lot of humanity with individuals that are often overlooked. And I would say he has made it a point, and I instilled this in him from a young age. You have some individuals that walk around in the hallways or at school or sitting at lunch by themselves. Make it a point to reach out, get to know those individuals. Those individuals, for one reason or another, they're feeling isolated. Okay. So I feel very good, and I see him in action. He kind of stands for the weak, I would say, and that's the main thing I really feel good about his humanity. A lot of parents, we always say we rather our kids be better human or better people than great academics individual. Okay. But we spend more time instilling academics in them. We even sit down with them and show them, hey, how to work a math problem, how to look up or research information. But we don't necessarily sit down with them and give them examples of how to be good humans. So we say one thing, but we do something else.
So how did you accomplish that?
Simply, I let him, from a very, very young age, I took him to shelters. I made it a point when we out and about, I talk to individuals who are necessarily not welcomed by others. So, and he has taken it upon himself. He not only uses that tactic with those type of individuals, but we have even teachers at schools that are known as the mean teachers or teachers who are hard to get along with. my son, he break those teachers down. He go to them during lunchtime or between classes and so forth and strike conversation. So, he has learned how to communicate with those who are often looked over.
Wow. Now, you said earlier that when we talked about challenges, that your son's failures are also your failures.
Actually, I said it. My son's faults as his son are my failure as a father.
Okay.
His faults as a son, not as a person, because he's going to make a lot of errors and mistakes out there. But as a son, there's certain aspects and certain things we expect from my sons.
Okay.
And where he falls short, generally, is because of my failure as a father.
All right. What are some of those failures as a father that turn into son faults that you've had to deal with?
I would certainly say one of the great ones. I was talking to him before I came, and I asked him, "Hey, what do you think of some of my failures?" And he simply stated that you're being at times overprotective, not just overprotective as a father, but you're so overprotective at times that it took me some time to develop a relationship with my grandparents. That's what he said to me.
Woo!
Yeah, he shared that with me. I didn't realize it until, of course, we sat down and had a conversation.
Now, was he saying his paternal or his maternal grandparents? Which one was he talking about?
Both.
Wow.
Yeah, both.
You weren't having it.
Well, I wasn't having it, but it has a lot to do with our own experiences. Sometimes we behave in ways, or the reason we behave certain ways has to do with our own personal experience.
Okay.
So my experience as a child caused me to, hey, when I have a son, I'm going to prevent certain things from happening. So my son, he wasn't maybe 7, 8 years old when he actually got an opportunity to spend the night at grandparents. So, but that has to do more with personal experience.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
What are some of the other things that he said that Cito said when you asked what are some of my areas I could have been better with?
Well, actually, when he brought that up, we took 2-3 hours just talking about that.
Wow.
So he didn't bring something else up because we were so caught up in that. But I did say to him, I thought he would say that I was just too aggressive. But he stated to me, no, that he would not trade that for anything in the world.
Right.
I was shocked because, as a father, I was very strict. He fell out of line. I made sure I instilled that ride, as it said in the Bible.
Right.
But according to him, he wouldn't trade that for the world. And I was very shocked to hear that.
Well, that's what we need, man. Young black men want the ride, man. They want that stern figure in their life, man. It just is lacking so much in our community.
You think so?
Yeah. Another failure, I would certainly say another failure is not instilling faith in him like it was in me when I was at a young age.
What do you mean?
When it comes to religion and so forth, of course his mother is a heavily Baptist woman.
Okay.
And believe it or not, one of my many aspects of life, I was actually a preacher at one time. But based on my experience and so forth, I didn't feel adequate, or I didn't feel at ease pushing faith on him at the time when he was younger. And today, at times, I kind of regret it, but he's turning out to be okay so far.
All right. So, what are you doing currently to enhance his faith, religious, spiritual walk?
Well, actually, we've been talking about since just going out and relating with other people that has religions, or just learning about other religions. He's coming back and he has shared with me some information regarding Muslims and so forth, which I didn't know. Of course, I had some family members being Panamanian. I have family members who are Catholics. The last 2 trips that we made to Panama, including his spring break, he actually went to a Catholic church and learned some information regarding the Catholic belief.
Okay. Yeah, the Catholicism is interesting.
Oh, certainly.
Got you.
That's the way I came up.
Okay, and I kind of grew up parallel to that myself. What are some of the other things that you can really pat yourself on the back for? You got him into a great university at a full ride. Mm-hmm. He's now researching some spiritual, religious, faith walk type experiences. He thanks you for the type of father that you were. What else can you say, I'm really proud that, what's another triumph in your fatherhood experience?
Wow. I can't really think of another triumph other than just knowing that my son is turning out to be a really good young man.
Gotcha.
Well-rounded. Of course, I've exposed him to other cultures by taking him on some of my trips, especially going back home.
Okay.
But as far as any one item that I could just pat myself in the back, I really have to just attribute just his whole being as a person and how he's managing himself, which causes me much pride.
Let me ask you this: being, you say you're from Panama, your family has Panama.
Yeah, he's Latino, bro.
Yeah, I'm Panamanian. Mm-hmm.
Is there a different void? What is parenting like on that side of the world? Fatherhood versus on this side in the Panamanian community.
That's a great question, bro.
It is, and that's something I actually had to break away from, to be honest, because in our Latin community, it's all about do as I say. Of course, a lot of family involvement and family pride and culture pride is instilled in us. But in the Latin community, you have at times 2 or 3 generations within the same home, so you don't have a lot of room for mishaps as a young kid, because you get it from everywhere. You get it from grandmother, you get it from mother, you get it from dad, and so forth. And at times, older siblings and cousins within the same household. Right. So it's all about do as I say. As I mentioned earlier, here in America, we believe that every kid needs a role model. We don't understand, or I don't believe individuals understand that when they say the word or the phrase role model, they're pretty much pointing at somebody who's supposed to be perfect.
Okay.
I believe every child need a model. A child needs a model not only to see the positive, but also to see the negative. And what I mean by that, for example, as a father, I have issues with his mother, let's say, and he's aware of those issues, or he have heard me arguing or having differences with his mother. I made it a point for him to see, not only hear that, but see how we make back up. Because at times, kids hear the parents in the other room having arguments, not talking for hours or a day, then all of a sudden, a couple of days later, they're made up. But the kids don't see the process. They don't see their father say, you know what, baby, I was wrong, or that wasn't important enough, or let's get over that. It's important for him to see that. Our kids to see that process.
Right.
When you feel as a father or feel as an adult, you have issues. We're not perfect. Let them see those issues.
Okay.
So how are you going to, pull your bootstrap up? Let them see that process. So when they get in a situation, they've been shown. They have a clear example. We tend to believe that a sermon are much better than what I say. What should I say? Actually, I'd rather hear.
Oh, I got you.
I'd
rather see a sermon than hear a sermon.
One. Exactly. Yeah. And here in America, we so caught up on do this, do that. That's not the way. We got to show both the good and the bad.
Got you. Wow. Well, I mean, that was a jewel, man. That you need to make sure that as a father, your child sees you solving problems.
Yes, that's important.
That's a jewel.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Thank you. Excellent.
It was your information, bro. All right, man. So this is Daddyman Radio, recorded at the YP Studios, and we had our Hermano Latino, Mike Grimes, in the house today.
¿Qué pasa?
Panameño stand up.
Aquí estamos. Aquí estamos. Exactly.
Yo, man, we thank you for being out here and sharing your jewels and gems on fatherhood. We're focused on fatherhood. We talked about a lot of the challenges that you've had as a father. We talked about the triumphant moments, and we're all going to learn and live from that. So thank you, brother.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right.
Thank you, brother.
Cuídate.
Gracias.